a Meals on Wheels volunteer. I've raced against the sport's biggest personalities, but I've never met more vibrant, amazing people than the seniors served by Meals on Wheels. As a volunteer, you deliver a hot, nutritious meal and a friendly hello to someone just like your mother, grandfather, or next door neighbor. These seniors are inspiring people with incredible stories to share, and they love to see you. The smiles you get back are priceless. Delivering with Meals on Wheels is easy, and you don't have to drive like me for it to be quick. You can volunteer your lunch break once a week or just once a month. With 1 in 6 seniors facing hunger and many more living in isolation, your lunch break can make a real difference. So, America, let's do lunch. Volunteer your lunch break at americaletsdolunch.org.
This message brought to you by Meals on Wheels America and the Ad Council.
It's the Worldwide Sports Radio Network.
Little roller up along first. Behind the fence. It gets Will Buckner. Here comes Knight and the Knicks winning.
See you in Pittsburgh.
Can't wait. All of it is out of the field. He's going to go into the end zone. Looking, throwing in the end zone. 24.
You're tuned into Game On with Josh Silverberg and Erik Bowe. Talking all things sports. It's
Game on.
Yeah, game on.
Game On right here on the Worldwide Sports Radio Network.
Orange and blue skies, ladies and gentlemen. All orange and blue skies. The Knicks are 2-0. The Mets are winning games, and the Islanders got the first overall pick of the draft. This is Game On Live every single Thursday from 6 to 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time here on the Worldwide Sports Radio Network. Of course, you can check us out on worldwidesportsradio.com, YouTube, Instagram, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, all smart speakers on your cell phones as well, and Job on the Mouth are on TikTok as well. You can call in at 631-672-3108. Mr. Producer, Speedy PD, beat me to the punch with the number. How are you, sir?
Orange and blue skies seemed like a good answer for that.
Orange and blue skies. And look who's back to join us. He's wearing blue. Mr. Erik Bowe, how are you, sir?
Not bad. I don't have my orange and blue.
That's
I got
okay.
some pinstripes, though.
Well, we'll get into the baseball. Leading into the segment with the pinstripes and everything like that. Twins traded to the Dallas Cowboys. Why it will be in a mitigated disaster for the Dallas Cowboys. And for one CD Lamb, we'll talk about that. And we'll get into the NHL a little bit with the playoffs. Craziness that is happening. Huh? How about that game last night in Winnipeg with the Dallas Stars winning game 1? I think that's the best series. I still think the Florida Panthers are going to beat the Toronto Maple Leafs. That would be hysterical because I would love that because I can't stand them. 3 fan bases that just drive at the wall. What do you keep dropping? 3 fan bases that drive at the wall. Yankee fans, Cowboy fans, and Toronto Maple Leafs fans.
Sure, there's a mutual combination of that somewhere.
Well, listen, you can hate everything. Yeah, well, you know. The only thing that would make it perfect is if you're a Yankee, Cowboy, and Laker fan.
Oh, God.
Now you're just copycatting everybody. But how are you, man? How's life? Talking to you, Erik.
You know, I wasn't sure. He looked like he was ready.
No, it's you. How's life? How's
Things are
everything?
good. Things are good. Knicks are up 2-0 against the Boston Celtics. Good time to be a Knicks fan. Yankees are beating or I should say took a series against the Padres, beating up the best bullpen in baseball, putting up a 10 spot in one game. Right? Mets are winning. The Islanders have the number 1 draft pick. I mean,
The Rangers introduced their new coach today. Speedy, did Mike Sullivan get you excited today?
It did not. I've been very cramped.
Do you know? Oh, here we go. Speedy, stop. Enough.
On.
Speedy, the Rangers are your number 1 team out of all your teams. Enough of this. And also, by the way, you know what I loved about Mike Sullivan's press conference is he didn't even say that much. Kept it short and sweet to the point.
No
Love
news
it.
is good news.
That's it. That's it. But a lot of I think there's 2 hockey games tonight. The Hurricanes play the Capitals. I think that's game 2. That's a big game for the Capitals tonight. How about
Draisaitl and McDavid?
Well, it's actually funny because McDavid and Draisaitl haven't even done that much. It's been the depth of the Oilers. They've come back in all their games in the third period so far. But that's a big series for the Golden Knights. They got to figure that out tonight. You don't want to go down 0-2 going back to Edmonton. You do not want that. That would be scary. And we'll see what happens. But, of course, we talk about the elephant in the room. Not just the Celtics being down, but the Cleveland Cavaliers being down. Now, the Cavaliers, we'll get to it in a few minutes because there needs to be an explanation as to why the Cavaliers are down. And there is an explanation and a reason as to why they are down. There is. First off, the Indiana Pacers have this voodoo on it. Any team they play, the superstars they play against always get hurt in every series they play, whether it's last year or this year somehow. But we'll get to that in a few minutes. But, of course, the big topic, the New York Knicks and the Boston Celtics. And I asked my son today, he's 3.5. I said, Caleb, what do you see? And this is actually a true story. I said, Caleb, what's in the sky? You know what he said to me? He said, Daddy, orange and blue skies. I said, my man, pots and pans, you get it. Now we know what we're talking about. Yeah, man. He even told me Juan Soto hit 2 home runs yesterday. He didn't say home. He said runs. He said Juan Soto had 2 runs yesterday.
He's not wrong.
And then he said, Daddy, when's my Diggatron truck coming out? I said, I don't know. I'm not sure. You got to figure that. You're going to have to you talk to your mom about that. She's in the Monster Jam Moms group. You're going to have to figure that one out on your own. I'm not in that group. I'm not allowed. But the New York Knicks are up in the series 2-0. Shocking, surprising.
Josh, I have a question.
Scintillating. I like that word. Yes.
Why do the Knicks have to be down by 20 before they can start to play the game?
Because they say, you know what? Let's get it to another gear. Let's rock and roll. Let's get the Celtics right where we want them. They get 3 happy. And then they say, let them take their shots. And the Boston Celtics are 25 for 100 this series, which is incredible.
We have 2 back-to-back wins against the Celtics. How many times do we beat them in the regular season?
That would be 0, but there is good news. I don't want to compare it to anything, but I will say, do you remember back in 2007, the Giants, Patriots, the last regular season game of the year?
Yep.
And the Giants kept it very close. They kept it very close. Because the problem is the Knicks were getting blown out in every game this year, but they weren't healthy in those games. They didn't have Mitchell Robinson. They didn't have Karl Anthony Towns in the game. They didn't have a lot of, there was injuries. And Anunoby was hurt for a game. A whole year, there was something wrong with this team. And then when everybody was healthy, they took them to overtime. Yeah. And the Giants, now, again, we're going to allude to this. The series is so far from over. I'm telling you right now, it wouldn't be shocked me if the Celtics win game 3. Yeah, but I don't want to throw cold water on this on the mood. But it reminds you of the 2007 Giants a little bit, where they kept it close. Okay, they lost the game, but they were like, yeah, we're in this thing. And then they go play them in the Super Bowl. And they beat them. Giants beat the big bad Patriots, the greatest team ever assembled, right? Everybody said
1 giant loss.
That's it. So, to me, I look at it in the perspective of, and people are going to say, is it the Knicks winning or is it the Celtics losing? It's a combination of both. It is a combo of both. Because the Celtics, when they go up by 20, and by the way, we all know in here how I feel about Tom Thibodeau. He and I have a very rocky relationship. To the point where to the point where it's like the stock market crash way back when. Or maybe like when the Titanic crashed. We don't want to go that bad. Right, Speedy? Kids show, right? We want to go we want to go that. We don't want to go that bad.
Yeah.
It's a little bit much.
Okay. All right. As you were saying, I'm intrigued.
He has completely wiped the floor with how piss poor Joe Mazzulla has been as a head coach. And the thing of it is this, and it was constantly, Reggie Miller talked about it during Game 2. All throughout the playoffs last year, the Celtics were 19-3. They finished. They weren't down in any series. They dominated. They bum rushed the entire playoff. Easy peasy for them. There was no competition. The Western Conference wasn't as good last year. You had a fluky Mavericks run that happened. And then in the Eastern Conference, you had injuries galore to the Knicks. The Pacers were not ready. Everything happened for them. The Miami Heat were burned out. They were flamed, you know what I mean? They were just exhausted from doing everything. And that's when the relationship started to deteriorate anyway with Butler and that organization. And now you're seeing the Celtics down 1-0 after Game 1. And you're saying, okay, how do they rebound? And I'm watching the first quarter and I'm saying, okay, sloppy basketball. If I wasn't a fan, if I was an independent basketball observer, I'd turn this game off because it's boring, it's sloppiness, nobody's hitting shots. I think combined at one point, the teams were 3 for 15 to start the game. It was abysmal. It was horrible. They took it out and Anunoby 3 away. I'm like, geez, you're taking points away. The offense is horrible. Now you're taking points off the board. And then the Celtics got to 20. And I'll be the first to say it. I texted my father, my brother. I texted you. I said, during Game 1, I said, let's move on to Game 2 and see what happens. And then they came back at 1. And then I said it yesterday. Even when it got to 20, again, I was on the fence because the Knicks were still missing shots. And I was like, okay, I'm concerned. I'm worried. But then, all of a sudden, everything just the Celtics who were taking they were taking the high percentage shots from Brown and White and Holiday were going to the basket and they're hitting their shots. And they're going to the basket and they're driving and they're beating everybody. And I said, okay, the Celtics are going to drive to the paint this game. They're going to win this game. And then the last 7 or 8 minutes happened. All of a sudden, Peyton Pritchard is jacking up threes. And Derek White is shooting up threes. But my favorite player of them all, my favorite guy, he is a legend at Duke University. Love him. Jason Tatum. Mr. No personality. I went to Duke U. I know how to play basketball. And he was 5 of 19 yesterday. And he was a no-show in Game 1. And then today during his press conference, he tries to act all tough guy-y. And says, man, when I get going, though, it's going to be nonstop. I'm like, dude, that's as fake as when the Yankees gave Max Fried's white flowers. Don't even start that.
Whoa. Wow. Way to sneak that one in there. Okay.
I'm just saying. It was let's call it like it is. It was fake. But let's call it like it is. Don't pretend to be a tough guy. And I go back. It's going to go back, and Erik, you'll come in a minute. But it's going to go back to the first round. I think that Detroit Pistons series made them tough, made them grind, gave them heart and grit, and pushed them to where you're seeing Mitchell Robinson die for basketballs. I'm watching, and listen, it was an offensive foul. But what OG Anunoby did to Derek White yesterday, that's going on posters. I don't care. We don't have to tell anybody the result. But that's going on posters.
So I'm glad you brought that up, Josh. Because, right, you look at round 1, and before we even look at the games, let's look at Josh's reactions, right? The last time we talked about the Detroit Knicks series, you were kind of, oh, man, if they lose this game, it's going to be bad news. They're not going to win anymore. Feeling kind of down in the dumps. Yeah. We haven't really got that sense from you after these 2 games right now, right? But now talking about the games, the physicality that Detroit has.
The
right?
Celtics don't have that.
They don't have the same tenacity, right? Jason Tatum is not Beasley and Schroeder and those guys, right? That are really kind of bumping Brunson the entire time, getting him off the ball, making him have to pass and do everything. You're not seeing, oh man, Towns isn't getting involved, because they're just getting doubled or everything, right? The Detroit series, Towns was getting doubled. The game that they lost, you came out and said, why is Thibodeau saying, oh, they're doubling Towns the entire time? We can't get him the ball. We can't get him involved.
That was probably yesterday was probably Towns' toughest, most physical game. Would you agree? He probably played the entire postseason. Was yesterday's game. That first half, he mauled Al Horford yesterday. He made him look like he was 38 years old and should be in a retirement home somewhere.
But you know what? That's what they need to be doing, right? You have Al Horford and you have Porzingis as the centers going against Towns. Towns should be playing bully ball against them. And if Mitch is in with Towns or without, Mitch should be doing the same thing. I will take that matchup over Horford and Porzingis anytime, right? The biggest thing, too, you have Brunson, you have Tatum, you have...
And Brunson didn't even play well yesterday.
No.
That's crazy.
But here's the thing. The main guys, yes, they're going to have to do a lot in this series. But it's going to be the Pritchard. It's going to be the Derek White. It's going to be the Harts and Bridges. That's going to be the key factor in the rest of this series, right? When Pritchard and Derek White hit their threes and catch fire,
they were at the beginning.
That's when things go awry and you get in trouble. You've seen it the entire season. When Pritchard and White have an off game, sometimes Tatum is there to help carry the load. Brown is there to carry the load. But when those guys are in the same kind of trenches with Brunson and with OG, for instance, right? It's going to be the secondary guys that need to step up and really do stuff. And right now, Bridges, Hart, those have been the difference makers. Towns, Brunson, Tatum, those guys, they're going to get their own. We know it. But it's going to be the secondary guys.
Well, I need to speak on this part about Mikal Bridges. Because I apparently offended somebody here at the station about Mikal Bridges.
Uh-oh.
Tell
him why you mad.
And he said I was wrong about him. He goes, admit you were wrong. Say you were wrong. Yada, yada, yada. And I said, okay. So will that make you feel better? I said, what do you want me to say? I mean, he's still shooting 3 of 20 from this in the series. But key shots yesterday, massive shots yesterday. Mm-hmm. But back-to-back games, he stole the ball out of Jaylen Brown's hand on game 1 like it was nothing. And then game 2, Tatum was trying to go. It was not a shot Tatum was going for, by the way. It was a pass to Brown. Right. And
who was covering Brown right before that?
It was Robinson, because here's what happened.
No. Brown, not Tatum.
Brown. It was Bridges. And Bridges
exactly. Watching everything develop.
He cut the lane to help Anunoby. And this is the problem with Missoula. Missoula had the timeout. Because what Missoula wanted was what Tatum did earlier, which was Tatum just goes in for the dunk. Mm-hmm. Robinson cut in too early, and they had McBride and Anunoby doing full court defense. What they did on this transition was obviously McBride was not on the floor because Missoula didn't call timeout, and Tibbs didn't want to call timeout. So they let Brunson on the floor, which I was just like, okay. And what they changed, what Thibodeau did was, this time Robinson's going to stay back near the paint, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep Anunoby on Tatum, let him come up, and then Robinson switches off with Anunoby with Horford, and Robinson just stopped them in the lane. And I don't think Tatum knew what to do at that point. He didn't know, because he's thinking, oh, geez, I tried to do the same play. It's not going to work. Now I got a 7-footer who's defensive player of the year at one point. He's all in right now on this play. And then Tatum, he moves to the side. Robinson backs out.
And OG was able to recover and double too.
Because OG knew that ball wasn't going to go to Horford. So he got off Horford, goes to Tatum, and Bridges cuts the lane and blocks the pass from Tatum to go to Brown. And that was it. And that, again, defense 101, that is the Tom Thibodeau defense I have been screaming for this whole season. Is where is this? You know what I'm saying? And also, by the way, I want to see more. Towns, how good, Speedy, you'll say this, you'll hear this too. How good were Towns and Robinson on the floor together?
About time.
They were great. And I don't want to hear the whole so my dad, kudos to him, I want to give him credit. He found a loophole, actually.
Oh boy.
So if you're in the bonus, you actually, if you foul Robinson without the ball in his hands, by the way, you know anybody can shoot the free throws?
Correct. Yep.
Here's the thing that didn't make any sense to me. Why was Missoula saying, hey, let's foul Robinson now when you know Anunoby's coming back in the game and Robinson's going to come in? And Missoula was, we wanted to get him off the floor. No, you didn't, dude. I 100% can guarantee you he lost track of how many fouls that his team had. He won't admit it. He will not admit it. There is no creativity with this Celtics team. It's literally pick and pop, bring it up the court, dribble it 3 times, and pop a 3 and see if it goes in. That's how they won the championship last year. But now everybody's going to say, oh, they're going to completely change their identity. They're not. They're going to live and die by the 3. This is what the Celtics are going to do. Now, I'm very curious how they come out Saturday because that Garden crowd. Here's the thing. The Knicks are not supposed to be in position, by the way, where they are right now.
Mm-hmm.
That's what makes the Garden crowd, like in the Pistons series, people were on their hands a little bit. They're like, this is tough. This is scary. They're up 2-0 right now. This Garden crowd is going to go bonkers the moment that ball tips off. Would you agree with that, everybody in this room?
Absolutely.
They're going to go. They're thinking, we got nothing to lose at this point. We're not supposed to be in this spot. They're going to go, because that Pistons, do that game 5 against Detroit, they were nervous, the Knicks fans. They were anxious because they knew that Detroit team was tough. They're not supposed to be in this position, the Knicks. And yet, they're up 2-0. That Garden crowd, they're going to be all over Tatum and Brown.
And Josh, riddle me this: if the Knicks were down 20 to Detroit, are you feeling like, oh man, here's the comeback? You're feeling, oh wow, okay.
I mean, they came back from, what was it, 10 down with like 3 minutes to go or whatever it was, twice in the series.
20, but no, we're talking about 20
on the road. Yeah,
time.
no, I agree. No, I agree.
Now,
on the road.
Now think about it. If Boston goes up Game 3 at the Garden by 20, who still has the pressure on them? Boston, right? You got to think like, all right, we're up 20. We've been here before.
Yeah, you've been here before.
We haven't finished, right? Now all of a sudden it gets down to 15 to 10. You start pressing a little bit more. Where the Knicks, we've done this before. Here we go. Let's start it again, right? They start chipping away that lead. Boston's going to get flustered again.
I think the problem is with Boston, they get very tight when there's like 4 minutes to go in the game, 3 minutes to go. They get tight and they get discombobulated because, again, they were not in this situation last year. Everything was a cakewalk for them last year. They had never had a hard situation to deal with. This is the best team they've played in the last 2 years.
Correct.
Is this team. And they're having it is a difficult process for them to handle, whether it's the defensive switches. Because, again, here's the thing. Towns didn't do much in the second half yesterday, and Brunson barely did anything in the game yesterday. And they still, because you got guys like Bridges stepping up in the fourth quarter. You have, and nobody didn't do anything, but you had Josh Hart doing stuff yesterday, the dirty work in the fourth quarter. Mitchell Robinson with the defensive stops. It just was, and Brunson every now and then would get his points. Mm-hmm. It was just going on and on. And I kept saying, I'll be happy if they cut it to 6 with like 3 minutes to go. That's when I'll feel happy. And then they cut it to like the fact that they even had it at single digits at halftime yesterday with only Karl Anthony Towns doing anything. Brunson did nothing. Hart did nothing. Bridges had 0 points. And Anobi, I think, had 6 points. And the bench had nothing. And they still only were down by 9 at the half. I was like, this is a miracle that they're even in this game right now. The Celtics should be up by 30. But this is also the coaching of Missoula. And the players too. I don't trust Tatum. I'm not even joking. It's not the whole Duke thing. It's not about that. I don't trust the guy. He's not. There's nothing about him that screams, build my team around this guy. I know he won a championship. I'm not going to take that away from him. I'm not. But was he even the best player on that team last year when they went to the championship?
Jaylen Brown has a question about that.
Right? Derek White was the guy. Porzingis was massive when he came back for the postseason. Those were the guys. Nothing screams Jason Tatum is the guy that I could build my team around. That's the part where I'm saying to myself, what is it about? And he has no personality, period. He has nothing about him that screams, I need to buy his jersey. Like he doesn't talk trash. You see him on the court. He looks flustered on the court. He looks overwhelmed. He looks mismatched. He looks out of sync completely. And this whole Porzingis thing, too, is I'm curious because he played a little bit yesterday, but he didn't look good either. This Porzingis thing is serious. They lost. Who's the center that they lost already in the series?
Cornette.
No, not Cornette. Who's the player they lost off the bench?
Oh, is it Hauser?
Hauser.
Yeah.
They lost him, which was huge. So they're asking out Cornette to do double-digit in minutes, which usually he doesn't do that.
No, but this is the perfect case in point of what you're saying, of why the Knicks should go bully ball with Robinson and Towns. Who on the Celtics team?
But they're still getting out rebounded like massively by like 15 or 20. It's crazy.
I don't understand that part.
That part I don't.
You have Towns and Robinson that could go against Horford, Cornette, Porzingis. How are you not taking more of an advantage with that?
Speedy, you were going to say something before, right?
About what?
I don't know. You look like you were going to say something.
No, I wasn't.
Okay, never mind, Speedy. That was a segue for you to make up something. But okay, go on.
Make up something.
Okay, thanks, Speedy.
Well,
good job.
I'm pretty sure there's another basketball game.
This is hypothetical for the Knicks Timberwolves final. Get it ready.
Hey, what are you doing? Stop!
Well, listen.
He's already
Golden State without who?
He'll be back in a week. Relax. Let me be honest with you.
That's how many games without him, though.
I said this. Here's what you want to know what the NBA wants? I'll tell you what the NBA wants.
What do they want, Josh?
They want Knicks and they want Warriors in the finals. They want Steph Curry at Madison Square Garden in Game 1 of the NBA Finals. That's what the NBA wants. You tell me, am I wrong? You tell me, am I wrong? Do they not want that? They want that. They want Knicks. They want Steph Curry. And it's funny because the Knicks thought Jimmy Butler was going to the Western Conference. They were going to avoid him. Nope, sorry, you're back. We're going to have to kick your ass again in the finals.
That means Golden State will have to get past Minnesota, and I can't see that happening.
Oh, we'll see. I mean, look, they did. Even when Curry got hurt, they still beat him by 11 the other night. So this whole Edwards thing with his coach is fascinating, throwing his best player under the bus, which was an interesting tactic and choice. That was an interesting choice to take.
Randall will teach him how to act. Don't worry. Randall's got his back.
I mean,
what a leader.
God. But please, Errol already told me. He goes, I tell you, he already said to me. He goes, Knicks Pacers. Knicks are going to the finals. I was like, Jesus. I'm like, what are you doing, man? I'm like, we all need to stop. Let's get to the Cavs Pacers right now, because I will say this: what I saw the other night. I know we don't like Tyrese Haliburton, right? This whole I don't know what people are watching. I wanted him in the draft.
Sure. I think a lot of people did.
I was annoyed when they drafted Toppin. I said, take the point guard from Iowa State. And they took Toppin instead. I said, "Oh, good, you took the flash. Took the flash and pan player. Good for them." And now they're both on the same team together.
Well, now they might have not had Brunson though. If that was the case.
Well, you know what? But honestly, what Halliburton did the other night, when he missed the free throw, took his old rebound, and just chucked up a three. You know who that screams? That screams Reggie Miller when he did that.
Yeah.
Missed the free throw. Let me take it. Go back to the three and just chuck it up there. And I'm going to say, in the words of Mark Jackson, "Mama, there goes that man." And he went there, and he took it, and he took it to the point of where I said to myself, "Who's ever saying he's overrated needs to have their eyeballs checked or get off the drugs."
Now
He's not overrated. You want to say Tatum should be on that list? I think he's just as overrated as Halliburton. I digress.
Well, I was gonna say Team USA thought Tatum was really good too and played him a lot.
Yeah, and Halliburton too. They didn't play either one of them. So there you go. Derek White played more minutes than the two of them combined. What do you want me to say?
Now, but for Cleveland's sake, Garland is out, right?
Mhm.
DeAndre Hunter didn't play.
He's still probably not going to play. Mobley's out.
Yeah, I mean, you just defensive player of the year.
Yeah, I mean,
One of your best sharpshooters, one of your best go-to guys. Donovan Mitchell has to try to do it all by himself.
Yeah, and he's hurt too. He's hurt also. So it really, it really is tough with the problem with. And by the way, they said Garland has a foot injury. I know what Garland has. By the way, he's got a broken toe, and I can tell you he's what 6'1". Here's the problem: when you have a broken toe or anything with a foot, and you got no jump off your shot, you don't have the height to be able to make up for it.
Mm-hmm.
So therefore, he can't play. That's the issue. He went around shoot around the other day. He said, "I can't go." And I feel for Kenny Atkinson actually. And here's the thing: if the Cavs get eliminated, they're going to have an excuse. We lost 60% of our lineup. Hello. So to us, now they should have won the game. They should have won game two. They should have won game two. They should have won that game. There's no excuses. I don't care who's hurt, who's not. They should have won that game. That was one of you thought the Celtics collapses were bad. That was even worse.
Mm-hmm.
That was worse. And do that. But it was so crazy until last night. The Denver Nuggets were the first road team to lose in this round. It was wild. It was just wild. And I'm just watching. I'm going. I guess everybody hates playing in front of their fans. What did they do?
Well, that was probably the best wake-up call for OKC, that first loss against Denver.
Oh, well, they needed it because it happened to them last year when they had one loss to Minnesota and it went downhill from there. Remember they had what? They lost by, what was it, 15 points? They had a 15-point lead in the fourth quarter. What was it, game 2?
Yep.
At home, and they lost.
OKC responds with what, 87 plus, or I think it was about 87 points in the first half. They say, okay, you know what? We needed that little wake-up call. We've been running through teams and everything. Cool. We got punched in the face, and they responded very well.
Yeah, they did a great job. I think really quickly with the Cleveland series, I don't want to say that series is over yet either. It's going to be very challenging. It's very different than this because the Celtics and Knicks are both healthy.
Right.
The Cavaliers are not healthy. If Garland's got a broken toe and he's their second best player, they're not winning. They got through the first round against the Miami Heat, who had next to nothing, and they quit in Game 4. It's called like they lost by 40.
Yep.
Nobody could blow that lead. We don't think. But now you're getting an Indiana team that has, and I actually like Indiana's depth. They got Carlisle, who's one of the best coaches in the league. Nobody talks about him. They got Nembhard, who's has improved dramatically on his 3-point shooting. Turner, who again is a stretch 5. You can play him, he's kind of like Adebayo a little bit. And then you got Siakam, and then of course you got Halliburton. Their line it's not a bad team.
Don't forget the role players. Mathurin. You said Nembhard.
Don't say Toppin.
No, not Toppin.
Toppin doesn't count. He stinks. He's so bad. Every time I watch him, the guy still can't hit a jump shot.
Neesmith, Matherin,
Yeah,
same
man.
thing. They're regular season. They're like, okay, playoff, different level with those guys.
Does anybody? Quick question. I'm going all over the place here. Do we think Tibbs didn't play the Robinson Towns theory that much in the regular season because he didn't want anybody to have film on it, and now he's doing it now?
That's
Not a
valid.
bad theory. Yeah, seems legitimate.
They're playing chess while everyone else is playing checkers, Josh.
He didn't play them at all in the regular season, and these two series he's playing them together nonstop.
Well, he didn't play him as much in the Detroit series, though.
He's doing it a lot now, and they still can't get rebounds. Explain that one to me. You got 2 7-footers on your front court, you can't get a rebound. I got Drew Holiday, who's 6'3", getting rebounds.
Eric, they're playing chess. Everyone else is playing checkers, and Joe Mazzulla is playing horse.
That's right. All right, then who's playing bingo?
Probably the Celtics ownership.
But you know what? But Josh, tell me the Pacers and the Celtics right now are not like the opposite, right? Celtics regular season.
It's coaching. It's
ran
coaching.
everything.
It's coaching. It's coaching. It's Carlisle.
You had
head coach. He's
Derek White,
Yeah.
Peyton Pritchard. Both could have been 6 men of the year. You know, both of them could have been, you know.
Derek White's in that lineup now.
And then you look,
lineup, which I don't understand why they took him out of the bench role. He was good there.
and then you look at Indiana, Nembhard, Matherin, Neesmith. Okay, regular season. Playoff time, turn it on. Extra level.
I will tell you this. If it does get to Knicks Pacers, which by the way, Reggie Miller so wants that.
Yeah.
He does. Seriously, he does. He's rooting for the Knicks this series. You could clearly, and so is Shaq, by the way. You could clearly tell Reggie's rooting for the Knicks. Let me tell you, when Brunson got that 3 again in game 1, Reggie went nuts. He went, oh, there he goes. I thought Kevin Harlan was going to have a stroke during the telecast. But my theory, if it does get to Knicks Pacers, you thought the Trae Young chants were bad. Do we even want to even remotely have a thought process? Bring in your child to the Garden to hear what they would say to Tyrese Halliburton.
Would Halliburton's dad be able to go to the game?
Nope, they kicked him out for the rest of the playoffs.
He's banned for the playoffs.
Nope, they said no. But anyway, those are the Eastern Conference, West Conference we touched on a little bit. OKC, listen, that series just starting. It's 1-1 now, everything like that. I know it's
Hey, Josh, I got a question.
OKC Denver, excuse me, yeah.
I mean, we talked basketball playoffs, but I think there's another league with playoffs going on right now.
You know, I just wanted to say one last thought about the Minnesota series about Julius Randle stepping up big the other night. But that's okay. I do miss DiVincenzo. But there is another postseason that's happening. I'm dying.
There is, right? Wait a minute.
What are you looking at?
Are we talking about they could be a game tonight where we kind of touched upon where 2 of their top guys are not performing, except this team is still winning, right? Edmonton.
Yes, sir. Edmonton and Vegas.
David, they haven't really been the factors.
That's right. The comeback cardiac kids. They've come back in every win so far this postseason in the third period. That was shocking tonight against Vegas. I thought Vegas had that. I really did. But now Vegas gets Petrangelo back, so maybe that will settle everything down. We'll see. We'll find out. The Winnipeg Dallas series is the best series, right? That's the best series. That's the best. I know Speedy's watching every minute of that series. You know, so don't even tell me you're not.
The Dallas was my cup pick at the start of the year.
Oh, well, and they just got back Roberson, right? Yeah. So that's it. Now we're cooking with gas, Speedy.
Just like Mikko Rantanen.
I'll tell you what Mikko Rantanen did was a crime on his former team.
That's a revenge games.
A hat trick in Game 7. Filthy.
See, I'm more interested in the Hurricane Capital series.
Yeah, that was a bad loss for Washington the other night. That was a bad loss.
That's a fun one.
It's weird. I can't figure Carolina out. I don't know. Like, I mean, Washington should win this series. They're the better airboard. But then again, it's like, does Carolina have more depth on their team than Washington does? Did Washington overplay because they came in struggling to the postseason, but then they had not a scare against Montreal, but every game was a tough, grinded out game against Montreal. And, you know, you got the scare with Logan Thompson. Is the leg broken? If he's done for the postseason, you're going to have Charlie Lindgren be the goalie then. This could be a problem. I tried everything was fine. I think Spencer Carberry is the best young coach in the league. I don't care what anybody says. That Washington team is going to be good for a while. You just got to let them keep their first-round picks, please, and not trade them constantly. The problem with Washington is they always make the playoffs, too. So their draft picks are always so low. That's the problem. And then you have the Florida-Toronto series, which I need Florida to win this series. It will feed children having Toronto losing. I will drink the tears of the Maple Leafs fans if they lose again. It'd be wonderful.
I don't know. Tavares is trying to put an end to that.
I gotta tell you, what was it, 4-1 the other night in Game 1, and Florida tied it at 4-4, and then bang, 5-4. It's like so good. But everybody was like saying to me, "Oh, with Stolar's getting hurt." Everybody's like, "Oh, Toronto's in trouble." I'm like, Joseph Wall is a really good player. Like, he was their starting goaltender in the beginning of the season. And then every time Wall got hot, he got hurt. And then Stolarz came in and just took the job. Nothing you can do. Stolarz was one of the hottest goalies coming into the postseason. Now Stolarz is hurt, and Wall, I have to tell you, that I got to watch after the Knicks game was over. I watched the end of that Toronto game, and they, when Toronto brings and when Florida brings on Barkov and Marchand and Kachuk and Verhaeghe, and you want to put and Reinhart in there.
I was going to say the two Sams, Bennett and Reinhart.
Yeah, they put Reinhart as a right-handed defenseman to go with Seth Jones, and then Jones comes, and then Reinhart comes off for a minute, and then boom, here comes Ekblad, and it's just kudos to Joseph Wall for surviving those 2.5 minutes yesterday. He had about 5 or 6 shots peppered at him that he was able to stop. I thought 3 of those shots went in constantly. What I think Florida screwed up on was they didn't keep Marchand in front of the net. That was the issue, which they should have had him there. They kept the front empty for Wall to see everything. There was no pressure in front of the goalie. But I'm a little concerned about Bobrovsky right now. He's not looked good. He was iffy in the Tampa series. They just blew Tampa out every game. And this series, he's looked awful so far. So, I mean, I love the NHL playoffs are the best. They're the best. They're the best playoff. And for everybody to say, "Ooh, let's switch it to 4-on-4 or 3-on-3 when the overtimes happen and see what happens," would you maybe go to a shootout? No, you stay up till 1 a.m. and watch the 5 overtimes, and you're sitting on the edge of your seat. Because here's the thing: when it's 1 o'clock in the morning and your team scores the winning goal in overtime, it's like, oh, now you feel wired again. When's the next game? When's that happening? So to me, I think it's been great. I think it's been fantastic the postseason. I gotta tell you, the NBA, their first round was such a dud, which it always is. Boy, the second round has been unbelievable. That's a big what every game is like tight except for the Denver game last night. Yeah, I don't know what's gonna happen.
No, but you know what else? I don't know what's gonna happen. The wide receiver room for Dallas. CeeDee Lamb, is he gonna throw some blocks?
Speedy, he's looking at his stat sheet. He's looking at it. I see him. He's looking at it. He's like, all right, it's time. Pickens, let's go.
I'm just saying.
I'm going to pick off here and go to the George Pickens story.
It's going to be interesting because, listen.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's going to be interesting, all right.
You can't cover us both.
You can't ask for a better leader to go from Mike Tomlin to Brian Schottenheimer to be able to handle George Pickens. Speedy, would you agree with that statement?
Yes, the figurehead head coach, Brian Schottenheimer.
Because according to Jerry Jones, is this a risk? Absolutely it is. But let me just say to the guy who's right to my left, who I just hired today, is this a risky hire? Yeah, the guy's only standing a foot away from me. As Jerry Jones like to do, and everything like that. This is Dallas, and everything like that. But you can't ask to put a guy that has more drama on him than to put him in the most quiet franchise in all of professional sports. They put him in the quietest place. They put him with the Dallas Cowboys where nobody watches them. Right, Speedy and Erik? They put him in the best spot.
Yeah.
I just think every year's their year.
They have their running back core is so great that whether he throws a block or not, it's not going to matter.
I hope to God they really, really, really. I hope Dak.
Listen, before the draft happened, Jerry Jones came out and said, "We're working on something big."
But was this really the big thing?
It seems to be the way.
I mean, my theory on this is, first off, Dak's gonna love him until he stops trying in the middle of a game because he only has 2 balls thrown at him.
By game 7,
Lamb's gonna hate him. Lamb's gonna hate him because CeeDee Lamb is the complete opposite of George Pickens. CeeDee Lamb is a lunch and pail kind of guy, right? No nonsense. I go to work. I do my job. I go home. Pickens is always on social media. He's complaining. You see it during the games. He's arguing with somebody. He stops running his routes. He doesn't care. It happened in the playoffs this year, right? Remember we saw it against Baltimore? He stopped running a straight out route.
When the games get tough,
he doesn't care
and
anymore.
Seems to just.
But if you're also like Mike Tomlin could take on any problem. The man needs therapy. He's dealt with Antonio Brown and Le'Veon Bell, and if you can't get through to Pickens, dude, if Mike Tomlin can't get through to him, how is Brian Schottenheimer going to get through to him? How is that going to work?
All right, I have a comparison for you. You let me know if it makes sense, or if I'm just dumb.
You're giving me Erik, when you said
I'm setting you up pretty nicely on that, Josh. All right, what you do with it is up to you.
Yeah, you're giving me a good option there. That's pretty.
I'm just saying. Is George Pickens the Anthony Rendon of football?
Oh God!
Wow.
That is really good, Speedy.
What? I never would have thought that one.
Yeah, you know what?
Is he the Anthony Rendon of football?
Speedy, you start with that first because that's a fascinating one.
I know.
My head is spinning.
Yeah, I guess he hasn't missed as many games, but effort-wise, it's interesting.
Yeah, because Rendon was never like that on Washington. That was the thing. He took Artie Moreno's money and he said, "Ha ha, sucker, mine now."
Is that a good comparison?
That's a fact. It's a great comparison.
Thank goodness, because I don't want to get called dumb.
Oh man,
I got you thinking on this one.
I'm trying to think who, but because hockey, nobody does that. Maybe Evander Kane at times.
Yeah, but he doesn't have lack of effort though.
Oh, he did in San Jose at the end.
Oh, the 1 year with the betting, yeah, but
that was bad, yeah. But no, but in basketball, you could say, I mean.
Now I'll let you think, and I'll just go on this little tangent for a sec.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
You have
keep going.
Pickens in that wide receiver room. In a basically a real crucial year for Dak Prescott in the last 2, right?
But again, Dak's gonna love him. That's the thing.
You think so?
100%. Of course he is. Lamb's gonna hate him
until Pickens is like, I'm over this, and then Dak numbers, start to decline. I don't know. I see the trouble starting already.
Dak's always gonna feed him the ball. I bet you he turns into more of a favorable target than he does Lamb to make him happy, right? Because Dak cares about what his peers think.
Yeah, but you got to keep CeeDee happy, no? CeeDee's the main one you got to keep happy.
But the thing about CeeDee is that CeeDee's never going to express it. That's the thing. He's the opposite of. He's not. Has he ever expressed anything at all? CeeDee Lamb.
Not so bad.
No, he's one of the quietest guys in the league. He literally, dude, CeeDee Lamb is literally like DeAndre Hopkins, where he doesn't say a word. He works with what he has, and he just goes with it and hopes for the best. Pickens is the guy, okay, I'm done. I'm out. But that's also why you couldn't have him and Metcalf together. Yeah.
But if you
and then you had Aaron Rodgers to the mix, and oh, Nelly, here we go.
But that's what I'm saying. If you're Jerry Jones working on the stuff and you had DK Metcalf available, you had all these other guys available.
No, well, no, because here's the thing: Metcalf wanted a new contract. Pickens needs a contract, but he doesn't care about it right now.
So you pair DK. You're telling me pairing DK and CeeDee Lamb for 3-4 years would be terrible?
They can't afford the contract with Metcalf because they're gonna have to pay. They still have to pay Parsons, which he's going to be paid the highest defensive player in the league. He's going to be the highest paid defensive player in the league.
And what's the value of the Cowboys?
It's not about that. There's a cap. It's a cap.
You can make it work.
If there was no cap, the Cowboys would be buying everybody. That's the reality.
And they'd still
there's ways to make it work.
Right? They would still lose. Listen, we all can't be like Steve Cohen and have a lot of money and actually be, frivolous with their money, but actually win games. We can't do that.
Listen, you can sign DK, but you need to trade Dak.
So then who's throwing him the football? Shador? I'd love to see that.
Cooper Rush. All he does is win.
Anymore, isn't it? No. Who did they just trade? Didn't they just get the Patriots quarterback?
No, they still have Trey Lance.
No, they did. Joe Milton.
They just got Joe Milton.
Oh,
yeah. Yep.
Hey.
Yep. Bingo.
I like Joe Milton. That kid's got something about him that I good in the pocket, smart awareness, quick feet, and gets rid of the ball fast.
Him,
I don't think he knows where the ball goes, but it usually works out.
More the reason to have traded for DK.
The problem is,
or not DK necessarily, but someone better than Pickens.
There was nobody. Who are you going to get? Debo?
They could have tried.
He's going to get hurt the third game of the season, and then down goes the trade.
Devontae Adams seems like he was available.
Dude, Devontae Adams signed like the moment he got released. He went to the Rams. You know what Devontae Adams said? I dealt with enough drama with the Raiders. I dealt with even more stuff with the Jets. The last thing I need is to go to the Cowboys, or I'm going to have to throw myself off a bridge somewhere. Okay, let me go to a place where I know I have a good quarterback with the Rams and Stafford, and I get to be in warm weather, which is it's nice. It's nice. You know what I mean?
That is nice. You're right. That's very nice, Joshua.
He went to oh God, what was it with Derek Carr? Fresno. So he's West Coast guy. Does he really have a Taco Bell in his house?
The commercial says so.
Somebody's got to find that out, because if that's true, that's freaking amazing. $5 lunch boxes every day.
I mean, technically,
dude, can you imagine getting, get me the Crunchwrap Supreme every freaking week, dude. I'd have a blast with the new sauces that they got, the green one, and now they got. And you see now Taco Bell's got chicken nuggets.
I did.
That is going. Speedy, have you tried those yet? You're a fast food guy.
I have not.
Yeah, you're still trying the Texas one, aren't you? You still go to Texas Chicken and Burger?
No, I haven't done that in a while.
Okay.
Unreal.
White Castle a little bit.
I
haven't had White Castle
in a while either.
I haven't had White Castle in years. I gotta get that with a nice milkshake, a nice little crave case.
You know what? I have a question for Speedy.
Is it about fast food? Because this is the topic at hand right now. We're having fun.
It is
about
fun.
Fast food. Is it about fast food?
All right, fine. Top 5 fast food, Speedy. Here you go.
Speedy's the connoisseur. Speedy could know. He eats fast food all the time, and he still looks like a stick. But go on.
I do not eat fast food all the time.
You always do. Stop.
Oh, stop calling him out, Josh.
You eat fast food all the time, or Errol makes you mac and cheese. It's one of the other.
You know what?
And I'm not here all the time.
When you are here.
Speedy,
3 days.
Speedy, answer the question. What's top 5
All
fast
right,
food?
of the ones I've had, I haven't had them all, obviously.
Don't put Chick-fil-A on your list.
I was going to, actually.
Oh my God.
It's not
so
number one.
new.
Why?
It's too new.
It's not new.
Can we count Bojangles even though it doesn't exist?
I never
in New York?
had it. I wish I
It's
does-
like adding Whoppers to your candy list.
Bojangles. No, Bojangles. How dare you? Shame on you. It disgusts me. You know what? When we go away on vacation, you and I'm making sure we have a rest stop at Bojangles. And you're going to eat a sandwich. And you know what you're going to say, Eric? You say, this is way better than Chick-fil-A.
Maybe it is. I never had it. It could be.
All right, what is your top
All
5?
right, so
please?
5 guys, I'm going number 1.
What?
Yes. it's
But
very
they
good.
have the sloppiest French fries on the planet. It seeps through the
It's the
bag.
Cajun ones.
It seeps through the bag.
And they're still
It
very
rips. I do like their peanuts at the front of the
That
they,
is
they
also-
do they do get those.
Also, that is also a bonus.
Yeah.
Let's see. So I'll go that.
It's like picking Whoppers as your candy. But go on.
Whoppers. Well, no, Burger King's definitely not on the list. I'll tell you that.
Thank God.
No. I would
They're
say
trying to get rid of their food.
trying to get rid of their food. I did have it once and it was pretty good. It was Hardee's. I'll put that in the top 5.
Oh,
I had it only once in Tennessee, and it was good. I'll put that in the list. I'll put Chick-fil-A somewhere in the list. I don't know. I would say Wendy's, and I'll say, let's see, what's the 5th one? KFC. I'll put in there.
All right, easy peasy. I'll go bomb. All right, fit for me. I would say Wendy's, always big with the Frosties. 4. I go White Castle. You gotta go White Castle. 3. Only chicken place I'll go to. Actually, no, Chick-fil-A I'll go to, but I can never get in. I like Bojangles. Bojangles is 3rd. 2, Arby's. Arby's is 2. Their mozzarella sticks. Out of this world. Out of this world. And number 1 for me, it's easy. It's Taco Bell. Easy peasy. I was gonna put Jersey Mike's on there.
Oh yeah, was that a qualifier? I would have done that.
I guess it would have been
actually. Okay.
I guess. I mean, I would take Bojangles and just swap it out for Jersey
I
Mike's.
do like Jersey
but-
Mike's. I might put that there.
Yeah.
So
You
I
know,
don't know.
you're both missing one in particular that had the best French fries.
Don't say McDonald's.
And best French fries, Checkers, Rallies, whatever you want to call them. Best fries, don't need ketchup, seasoned, ready to go.
Checkers is good.
You know what? You know what really grinds my gears?
Hmm.
That you didn't say Checkers or their fries. Their banana shakes are top notch as well.
They are banana shakes are
So you know what? That's grinding my gears. Speedy, I want to know what grinds your gears in sports, because as you know, it's time.
Say it, Eric.
It's time. Come on. You're better than that.
All right, I'll go with I don't know how true this actually is, but there was a rumor that Jason Tatum tried to avoid talking to the media and almost was considering pulling the fire alarm because he was so distraught. So I'll go with him as you're better than that.
Sounds about
Josh?
right. I have 2. One is the NHL with the draft. First of all, congratulations to the Honors, but the NHL draft coverage is atrocious. They go on it for 2 seconds and it's done. It's like it doesn't exist. Like, talk about the prospects a little bit more. That would be nice. Right? That would be wonderful to hear. Love to know more about them. And my number 2 is James Harden. My guy. Literally, he's like when the kids play baseball in South Park. They try to lose on purpose, and they're excited when the season's over and they get to have their summer. I mean, this is James Harden in a nutshell. Oh, season's over. Thank God I can go to my strip clubs now and not even talk to the media and do all that. I mean, he literally, so many times you try with this guy, it doesn't work. So both the NHL, but actually ESPN and by the way, the ESPN, can you promote the draft? Like, did anybody even know when the draft was happening? I didn't even know when the thing was going up. And my team was in the lottery. I didn't even know. I found out 20 minutes before I was starting. I know all the stuff that's happening in sports. So, them, NHL, and to James Harden, you're better than that by a lot.
Now, I'm going to preface mine with saying I understand the reasoning why.
Mm-hmm.
However,
Okay.
Doesn't mean I have to like it.
All right.
All right.
Okay.
How come I need 5 different subscriptions, 5 different channels, 5 different things to watch a baseball game? I'm going to turn on the TV, I'm going to go to the network, and I want to enjoy the game. I don't want to have to put on this streaming service, streaming service, and do everything.
Eric, you have to always watch it. Remember, it's on Amazon or on Apple TV with the Yankees.
Yes, but I have to remember that's on Wednesday, on Thursday, or on Friday. Come on. I want to turn the game on and watch my team. Come on. You're better than that.
Check out all the great shows we have here, including one that's coming up next at 7:30. Speedy, what is happening tonight with Jabba in the Mouth?
Oh, yeah. We'll be discussing all those NBA playoff matchups as well. The Anthony Edwards controversy with the coach. We have a guest, ex-Panthers cornerback, CJ Wilson, will be joining us, and we will get into the Islanders as well, winning the lottery.
10-6. So we had a nice little segue for you guys. It was a lot of fun. Check us out on worldwidesportsradio.com, YouTube, Instagram, Periscope, Spotify, Apple Podcasts. Of course, you can check out Jabba in the Mouth on TikTok. Check out Snowman in the Mornings, of course. All that. And, of course, check out the Weekend Crunch on 103.9 FM every Saturday at 7 p.m. So much happening. The next time we talk, we'll be here. We will see where does the dust settle. Are the Knicks moving on? Is the series tied at that point? We'll find out all that. The NHL playoffs. We'll keep discussing that and so much more. Eric, any last thoughts before we sign off? And let it to
say, let's go Knicks. Keep the momentum. And you know what? Also, a quick shout out. Yankees taking the series against the Padres with the best bullpen, making that bullpen look obsolete. Thank you.
The Yankees and
Orange and blue skies, baby. Orange and blue skies.
The Mets and Yankees were both in a bit of a low. Well, I got to tell you, the other night, really quick before we sign off, it really was orange and blue skies. You had the Mets win, the Knicks win, and the Islanders get the number 1 pick in the draft. That was really orange and blue skies that day, that evening, I should say. So we'll see. The Garden's going to be rocking on Saturday at 3:30. It's going to be nuts. It's going to be a lot of profanity. They're going to have to mute the crowd. Speedy, thank you as always. Oh, yeah. Have a good show tonight.
Thank you.
Eric, always fun. We're going to leave it up to the guys now. Errol and the gang are going to take it away at 7:30. So for Speedy Petey, for Errol Marks. I could say Errol Marks.
Their co-host from last week.
For last week, he did. For Eric Bowe.
I get it.
No.
I get it. It's cool.
That was up next. I have it in my head now. It's exciting. I'm Josh Silberg. Check us out next week. Have a good weekend of sports, ladies and gentlemen. You've been listening and watching us here on the Worldwide Sports Radio Network. This is Game On. Stay with us for Jabba in the Mouth at 7:30.
It's the Worldwide Sports Radio Network.